So when we're crafting our bill in 2022, we had to look at what the court said, and we had to craft it. We had to work with the Attorney General's office and our legal team to make sure that we were crafting a bill that would withstand judicial scrutiny. And thus far, it has done so.
Shocking news coming out of New York this morning. The CEO of United Healthcare was gunned down in Midtown Manhattan in what the NYPD calls a brazen targeted attack. 50-year-old Brian Thompson was pronounced dead in a hospital. The gunman fled and is still at large. Emotional reaction in Minnetonka, Minnesota, where United Healthcare is based. That's the gentleman, Mr. Thompson, was the CEO, of course, of United Healthcare. And ABC's Kamaria Bray is in Manhattan.
Thompson's sister-in-law says the family is devastated, and one of her biggest concerns is how his children is reacting to this news. She says he was an amazing father. And Governor Tim Walz posted on X saying this is horrifying news and a terrible loss for the business and healthcare community. He says Minnesota is sending our prayers to Brian's family and the United Healthcare team.
That is the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News. We have a stalled vehicle on I-40 eastbound on the South Loop at mile marker 209, so that's near the Broadway exit. The left lane is blocked there, and so is the left shoulder. Also, 24 westbound after Whites Creek Pike up in Jolton, we have a crash, and 65 southbound. After exit 108, we've got a box truck that has run off the road there and has got traffic disrupted, so make note of that. And finally, near the airport, 40 eastbound just before Briley Parkway, we have an accident that has the right lane and shoulder blocked. I'm Jay Harper. We've got traffic every 10 minutes every morning and afternoon on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's hour number 2 of The Drive, 7 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock. Hope that you are getting around town and doing well. Trying to, get home and take care of business, pick up the kids, whatever it is. We're going to be right here bringing you news and information so that, if you happen to get stuck in traffic, I know it's bad. It's bad. I got stuck in traffic this morning. I forgot how much I hated it. I don't mean to be rubbing it in that I don't have to get into traffic all that much, but boy, do I have great sympathy for you.
Yeah, sure you do.
Does that make you feel any better? Probably not.
I bet it does not.
I know. You're probably cursing my name right now. But if you're out there, then while you're sitting in traffic and you're thinking you're really hating life, just sit back and learn. Take advantage of that pause in your day. And get something productive out of your wasted time. I think that's what I think I do.
It's a good philosophy.
I think just don't get too upset about it. And here's the thing that I want to talk about next. Pete Hegseth, friend of this program. I mean, normally before he became the nominee to be the next Secretary of Defense, he would be on this show today at about 4:35. We consider him a friend. And he's got a tough thing going right now because there have been some questions raised about things that happened in the past, et cetera. And he's up there trying to make the case on Capitol Hill. And here we go. Pete Hegseth captured outside a Senate office today by reporters. And here's what he had to say.
That's what Donald Trump asked me to do. Your job is to bring a war-fighting ethos back to the Pentagon. Your job is to make sure that it's lethality, lethality, lethality. Everything else is gone. Everything else that distracts from that shouldn't be happening. That's the message I'm hearing from senators in that advise and consent process.
And while he was walking and talking,
I spoke to the president-elect this morning. He said, keep going, keep fighting. Behind you all the way.
So you're in this all the way?
Why would I back down? I've always been a fighter. I'm here for the war fighters. This is personal passion for me.
So it's hard to hear, but he said we're there for the war fighters, and he's continued to fight. And he said he talked to the president this morning, and he said, get in there, Pete, keep fighting for it, okay? Well, why is that interesting? Well, it's because there's some stories out there. Now, look, I don't know what to believe in this particular case. But having done a lot of these confirmation battles, I can tell you that a nominee is the nominee until the nominee is not the nominee. And they will get in there and they'll fight to the very last moment. But some things have happened, and there's some buzz that is floating around. Josh Hawley said, Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri said he was supposed to have a meeting with Hegseth today, and it was canceled. That raises my antenna as a reporter. And then on top of that, there was a report which he has denied that he's going to go to Mar-a-Lago tomorrow to have a meeting with the president. Now, he says that's not true, but that is floating out there as well, as is this. This is from, let me get the original source on this, was the Wall Street Journal. Here we go. Hegseth not going anywhere as senators air concern. And there's another one out here that he's being, that there is a plan B being developed. Let me read you this first one. In a series of remarks to reporters on Wednesday, Hegseth said he has no plans to drop out and emphasized that Trump would still back him. Trump is considering, however, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis as a possible replacement for Hegseth, the Wall Street Journal has reported. After a meeting with incoming Senate Majority Leader John Thune, Hegseth said, I spoke with the president this morning. He supports me fully. We're not going anywhere. You just heard that. Republicans have a 53-47 majority in the Senate next year. A nominee can lose no more than 3 Republican votes and win confirmation if all Democrats are opposed. Incoming Vice President J.D. Vance would break a tie. Hegseth is set to meet with Republican Senator Joni Ernst today, a military veteran whose support is seen as critical to his Senate confirmation. He's also expected to appear on Fox News on Wednesday evening in an effort to shore up his bid. I did not know that. That's news. Senator Mullen of Oklahoma, who accompanied Hegseth to a meeting with House Republicans, says he sees a lot of support for his bid. Listen, the window is tight, but I think he can get through. We talked about all the public concerns. I think he's still in the process of answering some of those questions, said Senator Shelley Moore Capito, Republican of West Virginia. She declined to respond when asked if she had made up her mind about how she planned to vote. I have some very real concerns about what's come out recently, said Senator Lisa Murkowski, Republican of Alaska, who plans to meet with him next week, and I want to ask him about that. And then Hegseth's mother, Penelope Hegseth, defended her son in a Wednesday morning interview on Fox News. She acknowledged sending an email to her son during his 2018 divorce accusing him of abusing women, but she said that was written out of deep emotion and that she sent an apology email about 2 hours later. Let's listen to just a little bit of that. Here is Penelope Hegseth on Fox News today.
This is to Pete during the 2018 divorce. You say, I have no respect for any man that belittles, lies, cheats, and sleeps around. And you go on and say, you are that man and have been for years. And as your mother, it pains me and embarrasses me to say that, but it is a sad, sad truth. You say, we still love you, but we are broken by your behavior and your lack of character. Mm-hmm. When you wrote that, what's the backstory? What was going on that made you so angry you wanted to write that?
Right. Let's go back 7 years, which if we all went back 7 years, we would see that maybe we were not the people we are today. But they were going through, Pete and his wife at the time were going through a very difficult divorce. It was a very emotional time, and I'm sure many of you across the country understand how difficult divorce is. And I wrote that in haste. I wrote that with deep emotions. I wrote that as a parent. And about 2 hours later, I retracted it with an apology email, but nobody's seen that. So it was a difficult time.
So to recap, you were angry about what was going on, his behavior during the divorce.
Right.
And so you wrote that email. And then, you know, a couple hours later, you apologized. Mm-hmm. And you guys talked and you worked it out?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Pete and I are very close today.
So that was his mom. And as you heard, apparently Hegseth is going to make an appearance tonight on Fox News. I would assume, I don't know what time it's going to happen, what show it's going to be in. Maybe Brett Baer's show. That would be a good place for him to drop in. I don't know. We'll see what happens there. Here's what I think is probably right. Here's again from the Wall Street Journal story. Hegseth has 24 hours to turn it around and strengthen his position, or he'll be in trouble, said a person familiar with the situation. At the moment, it's not looking good. I think that is probably accurate. I think that's probably accurate. I mean, you know, if you don't have the votes, if you're going to have, you know, more than a handful of senators aligned against you on the Republican side of the equation, and, you know, they're the regular, you got Ernst, who may have some real concerns. You got Lisa Murkowski, who you just heard, Susan Collins. There may be some others who have some concerns about the things that have been raised. But then you see other stories like this, and you don't know which to believe. I honestly, I'm having a hard time getting a good beat on it. I'll be telling 0 Senate Republicans are opposing Pete Hegseth's confirmation, sources told the New York Post on Wednesday, as the defense secretary designee making rounds. There are 0 no's right now, one GOP source familiar with the matter said, ripping smears against the former Army combat infantryman and in the press as BS. At least 6 Republicans have privately expressed reservations about the nominee, NBC News has reported. But apparently the New York Post is saying they have a source that says no one has officially aligned against Pete Hegseth at the moment. So, look, I think Pete Hegseth would do a great job if he can get the votes. But it does seem to me that when you hear stories that Trump has been having conversations with others like Governor Ron DeSantis as a plan B, here's that story from CNBC. President-elect Donald Trump is considering replacing embattled Defense Secretary choice Pete Hegseth with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, according to two sources familiar with the decision-making. See, you're never going to get anybody on the record on this. DeSantis is very much in contention. Another told NBC News that Trump and DeSantis directly spoke about the issue. Trump talked to the governor and wants him to do it. A source familiar with the conversation told NBC News on Tuesday night. NBC News reported Tuesday that Hegseth's nomination is in jeopardy. The Wall Street Journal first reported Tuesday night that DeSantis was under consideration for the cabinet post. Other possible contenders for the Pentagon job include Senator Joni Ernst and, here's an interesting one, Senator Bill Hagerty of Tennessee, according to two sources familiar with the decision-making. Representative Mike Waltz of Florida, whom Trump had chosen for White House National Security Advisor, is also a possible pick to lead the Pentagon, two other sources have said. So, reading all of the tea leaves, and there are a ton of tea leaves, and there are conflicting signs everywhere. My sense of it, what my experience tells me, is that he's being given a very short window to improve his situation and see if he can drum up the votes. That's what he was doing today. But if it appears that he can't get the votes to get confirmed, which means he's got to get 50 votes, he can only lose 3 senators, J.D. Vance would come in and break the tie, then he probably will be replaced, the way it's reading to me. What is interesting to me is all this talk about DeSantis, there's been nothing from DeSantis. If DeSantis was not interested in the job, he would have said so. He would have already let the people of Florida know, I'm not going anywhere. And he hasn't done that. And there's been no response at all from DeSantis, no comment about this particular story. So it sounds like to me that DeSantis is plan B, but that Trump is going to give Pete Hegseth an opportunity to try to get across the goal line on this thing, and apparently it's pretty close. So that's my read on it right now. And look, it could change. I would also say situation very fluid. It would not surprise me if there were major developments before the day is out. So stay right here on Super Talk, and if they happen, we will share them with you. 20 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock. Merry Christmas from the folks at Busy Bee. They got a limited number of 14 SEER, 1 1/2 to 3 ton split heat pumps for residential unit replacements for only $6,995. That's a good deal. Includes labor, equipment, material, and warranty. So if you think your heater's on the fritz, you think it's not really getting the job done, this might be the time to do something about it. The system offers a great balance of energy efficiency and year-round comfort for residential homes. They have some other specials going on the plumbing side of the thing. How about a $69 mainline camera inspection from the outside cleanup, or a free package upgrade for air duct cleaning? The idea here is that you buy one package and they'll automatically upgrade it to the next level for no extra charge. For example, you buy our middle tier package, they automatically upgrade it to your premium duct cleaning. And you can get a $500 gift card after installation of a whole home water main or drain line replacement, or a whole home water or drain repipe. For satisfaction guaranteed, call Busy Bee HVAC, your Rupo partner, 775-7833, or visit busybeehvac.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Another food recall, and this involves bird flu concerns. We'll have that story as well as the day's closing money news. That's coming up at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right. Thank you, Jay Harper. And for Ken Weaver, who I understand, Jay, is going to be back tomorrow. Is that the plan?
Yes, sir. He has been, he's had the crud, but he's doing better. He'll be back tomorrow.
As my mama used to say, he's got the creeping crud. The creeping crud. That's right. Well, I mean, I'm sure he'll feel better and be back tomorrow. So, again, thank you for stepping in his absence. We appreciate it. Let's see. First, I wanted to talk a little bit about the weather. You know, it's going to be cold tonight. 21 is the overnight low. And then tomorrow we hit 43. And then tomorrow night, or the overnight, 18. Friday, a high only of 38. So it's like I come about 20 degrees over the course of the whole of the day.
It's wild how we can go from yesterday we were in the 30s, and then today we're up in the mid-50s, and then tomorrow we're going to be back in the 30s again.
Right now, 53. I just stepped outside during the break. Then Friday, the high of 38, and it goes down to 23. And then Saturday, a high of 49, and it goes down overnight to 34. But then listen to this. Sunday, 52. Monday, 62.
That's wild.
Isn't that wild? Yeah, I know. Now, so anyway.
So what you're saying is that by the time we get through first part of the week, everyone will be sick. That's
going back
saying.
and forth. That's right.
Yeah.
And, that really does take people out of when the temperatures are so cold and then they get warm and they get cold again.
Yeah.
I don't think it's good on the body. But anyway, so, what I'm telling you is tonight and especially tomorrow night, take care of your tender plants.
Oh, yeah.
And take care of your animals. Mm-hmm. Make sure that they're good and warm. Grogu is already, got her coat on. And when you put her coat on, she really, it's funny. That dog is very funny. You put on a coat and she takes it as a personal belonging. And if you decide, it's time to take the coat off, she doesn't want you to take the coat off.
It's mine, and it's warm.
And same thing with her collar. If you take off her collar, like to give her a bath or something, she really is upset that her collar is not there.
Huh.
And she wants it back on. It's the strangest thing. She's very possessive of her things.
Yeah.
Anyway. But anyway, take care of your tender plants and your tender animals, okay? Let's see where I wanted to go. Yeah, listen, the Speaker of the House did an interview a little while ago on Fox News. I thought it was interesting. He's talking about, what's going to happen next year with the new session and everything. And since he's staying, I guess he's going to remain as Speaker the way it looks. Everything looks like it's going to fall in line for that to happen. Nobody challenging him as far as I know. And he's really looking forward to some of the big things that are going to happen when you have a Republican in the White House and Republicans controlling the Senate. And you got Republicans controlling the House. And especially when it comes to discussions about downsizing government, which, is what Ramaswamy and Elon Musk are going to be doing. And boy, I tell you what, I'm excited about that perspective, what might happen there, that prospect. They're not going to have official government jobs, really. They're sort of analysts who come in and take a look at situations and make recommendations to the president. It's the president who can make these calls. Has a great deal of latitude when it comes to some jurisdictions. But, there are 400 and some odd government entities in America today. And they want to drop that down dramatically. Here's the conversation between Martha McCallum and the Speaker of the House earlier today on Fox News.
Musk wants to take government agencies from 428 to 99. Can it be done? We certainly hope so. We want to be willing partners in that, and we have a new ability to do this now. Remember, the Supreme Court overturned the Chevron doctrine, right? That's a game-changing kind of situation. Not in my lifetime, but we had the opportunity to go in and really take back control from the administrative state. For a long time, they've been acting as judge, jury, and executioner on the rules that they make on industries and small business owners and the rest. So we have the ingredients, we have the conditions right now to actually be able to make really dramatic change. We do have to scale back the size and scope of government. It serves the people. It unleashes the free market again. Our policy changes will be a part of that, but I think that if we can make some dramatic changes in downsizing the scale and scope of these things, we'll go a long way.
Well, listen, I'm excited about it, and he is right about the Chevron decision. The Supreme Court passed that and said, look, these entities have gotten too powerful. And, there was a sort of the Chevron decision was basically if the law was unclear, an agency was free to come up with its own rules and that great deference should be given to those rules. No longer the case. No longer the case. So, the exciting days ahead are going to be really fun to watch as things start to happen and they start to I think we're seriously, really honestly, going to do something about the size and breadth of government. I long to believe that the government which governs best is that which governs least, and I hope that we're headed more toward that. Time for the news now at 4:30.
Good afternoon. It is 4:31, and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We'll have a complete weather forecast as well as, the traffic report. That'll be coming up as well. Well, a farm in California is expanding a recall of raw milk sold in stores over bird flu that was found in the farm's milk. Bird flu has now infected 57 people in the United States this year. Alex Stone, he's out in California.
Raw Farm of Fresno, which has been calling for less regulation of raw milk, is voluntarily recalling all whole milk and cream products from stores after testing has now found bird flu virus in multiple retail samples and at bottling sites. California is strongly urging people not to drink any raw milk products right now and only drink pasteurized milk, which kills viruses. Humans can get bird flu by drinking infected milk.
Now we turn to today's closing money news. For that, we have Chuck Sievertson.
The S&P 500 and NASDAQ indexes rose to new record highs during the Wednesday session. The S&P gained 37. The Dow added 309. The NASDAQ index up 254 points. The White House announced that at least 8 U.S. telecom firms and dozens of nations were affected by a China hacking campaign. Chair Jerome Powell said the Federal Reserve's ability to set interest rates free of political interference is necessary for it to make decisions to serve all Americans rather than a political party. Powell at the New York Times Dealbook Summit was answering a question about the president-elect's public criticisms of the Fed and of him. The District of Columbia suing Amazon, alleging the company secretly stopped providing its fastest delivery service to people living in 2 predominantly black neighborhoods, while still charging millions of dollars for a membership that promises the benefit. Amazon says it made the change based on concerns about driver safety.
That is the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News. Near the airport, Interstate 40 westbound at exit 216, that's Donaldson Pike, we have a crash. Also 24 westbound up in the Joelton area right after Whites Creek Pike. An accident reported there. Briley Parkway northbound, the off-ramp to Centennial Boulevard's partially blocked. There was an accident there. And finally, that box truck that ran off the road sitting in the tree line, it's got the shoulder blocked and creating, a little bit of a disruption to traffic. That's 65 southbound just after exit 108. I'm Jay Harper. We've got traffic every 10 minutes every morning and afternoon on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, this Christmas, I wanted you to rethink how you go about buying gifts for that special someone on your list. You know, instead of giving them something that they may not like or they might want to return, how about giving them an adventure? Give them an introductory flight experience from Tennessee Flight Training. Now, I just did this. It was a blast. You will meet and fly with a certified flight instructor. My flight was out of B&A. We circled the skyscrapers of downtown and looked down on Nissan Stadium, saw the new stadium under construction, flew along the Cumberland River. Well, you can also book your flight out of Murray County Regional or Shelbyville Municipal Airport. It can be just for fun, or think about this, it could be your first step toward getting your pilot's license. Did you know the aviation industry is facing a pilot shortage right now? Help yourself or a loved one jumpstart a new career in this in-demand, high-paying profession. Right now, you can save $50 when you purchase an introductory flight experience before December 24th. Listen, I want you to get this number. Write it down. 1-800-669-0250. Or learn more at tnflighttraining.com. That's tnflighttraining.com. Tennessee Flight Training, an adventure they will never forget.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
"39 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock. Brian Wilson in the chair all the way until 7 o'clock, where we hand it over to Mark Levin. Glad that you're with us on this fourth day of December as we bring you news and information you can use so that you arrive home or wherever it is that you're going as the smartest person in the room. And, you know, you can just spout that knowledge, and I don't care if you give me credit or not. It doesn't matter to me.
The family will go, wow, he's really smart.
Wow. Where'd you learn that? And you say, I know things. That's all you got to do.
Oh, I like that line. I know things.
I know things. All right, let's see. Here's something I know. Did you see, maybe you saw it on television, I don't know, but I looked at it, I went, wow, this doesn't happen every day. The police, Nashville police and the TBI have made a huge meth bust. Significant amounts of crystal methamphetamines, fentanyl, and firearms have been confiscated in Nashville, this according to WSMV. The Metro Nashville Police Department and the TBI are calling it the largest methamphetamine investigation and seizure in Nashville history. Police Chief John Drake and the Assistant Director of the TBI, Daryl Richardson, addressed the press to provide details. Chief Drake said the department believes more than 5,000 pounds of crystal meth and fentanyl have been shipped into Nashville in the past few years. Wow. 5,000 pounds. What is that? It's 2.5 tons, right?
Yeah.
Since November, 2.5 tons of crystal meth and fentanyl. Think about that. I mean, that's truckloads of the stuff. Since November 22nd of 22, the Metro Nashville Police Department has intercepted more than 800 pounds of crystal meth and 24 pounds of fentanyl. But 13 people have been identified in a Davidson County grand jury indictment alleging a series of drug conspiracy, drug distribution, and gun crimes in the region. This is, when you get one like this, you've been working it for a while. This is good undercover work is what this is. The main suspect identified during the investigation was a man from La Puente, California. They always come from California, it seems, in this area. 34-year-old Velasquez Serrano. According to Chief Drake, Serrano would often travel to Nashville to meet with his distributors, 24-year-old James Maurice Butler and 40-year-old Jeffrey Carl Jones. Chief Drake said Butler and Jones headed separate outfits that would allegedly arrange shipments of crystal methamphetamine to various Nashville locations, then would retrieve and store the drugs for later distribution. They would often use the real addresses of unsuspecting Nashville residents for deliveries. They would stand by. So this is what they were doing. They would put somebody's address down, and the people didn't even know that they were being used. Somebody maybe at work during the day, and then they would stand by, and when the deliveries are made, they would pick them up before the folks got home. So folks were having methamphetamine delivered to their front porch, and they didn't even know it. Wow. They would quickly snatch up the packages as the delivery trucks drove away, according to the investigation. TBI's Assistant Director Richardson followed by thanking each agency who walked the ears and those involved, agents of the U.S. Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the Murfreesboro, and the Smyrna Police Departments. That's amazing. And good. I mean, that's great. That's great police work. Attaboy, Metro Nashville, TBI, and the others. That is getting it done. And I'm telling you, making our community safer. This I haven't heard a lot about, but I have seen the video, and it's disturbing. Tennessee State Senator Ken Yeager has been arrested and charged with DUI and a hit and run in Georgia on Tuesday. Booked into a Georgia jail Tuesday night, accused of getting into a hit and run while driving under the influence while on vacation. Yeager, a Republican from Kingston, is chairman of the Senate Republican Caucus. He's said to have been driving a Ford Edge at the time of his arrest, this according to the Tennessean. Yeager regularly uses his campaign accounts to make lease payments on a Ford. So this may have been an official vehicle. Georgia State Trooper arrested Yeager at 5:35 p.m., according to an employee, reached by phone Wednesday. This is along Georgia's southern part of Georgia's coast. He was on vacation at the time of his arrest. An unfortunate incident happened last night. On the advice of my attorney, I cannot discuss the particulars at this time. I am and will continue to cooperate fully with authorities to bring this incident to an appropriate conclusion. Georgia State Troopers told to be on the lookout for a Ford Edge with Tennessee license plates 501 Tuesday night. The vehicle was allegedly involved in a hit and run on Jekyll Island, according to a spokesperson for the Georgia State Patrol. When troopers spotted a matching car in the parking lot of a gourmet grocery store, Jekyll Market, emergency medical service has already arrived and were evaluating Yeager, who had tripped and fallen, according to the spokesperson. Speaking with Yeager's, troopers noticed a distinct odor of alcohol on his breath. He admitted that he had been in a crash earlier but did not know law enforcement was coming. Yeager agreed to a field sobriety test and a breathalyzer, and I have seen this video, and folks, it ain't pretty. He was booked into jail, then released around 2 a.m., according to Sheriff's Office employees, charged with 3 crimes, which are hit and run, duty of the driver to stop or return to the scene of an accident, failure to stop at a stop sign, and a DUI, less safe driver. So, bond set at $1,500 for the hit and run charge, about $500 for the failure to stop, and the DUI charges. So there you have that. That's not a good day for Senator Ken Yeager, arrested. And again, the video of the stop and the field sobriety test is pretty ugly. We talked about this on the news yesterday, but I just wanted to come back to it and talk a little bit more about it. The Nashville City Council has narrowly rejected a contract with a law enforcement surveillance company. Now, this company, basically what they do is they tap into private security cameras and make them available to the police when they're in an area where there's a high crime area. The 20-18 rejection comes after the council decided at its November 19th meeting to defer a vote on the issue, in part to allow time to add an amendment to the contract with more safeguards. This is called the FUSUS system, F-U-S-U-S. It's intended to expedite criminal investigations using real-time video footage pulled from FUSUS devices, specifically cameras owned by private entities, not individuals, and sent directly to police officers. Yeah, this is being done in some places, and it's had some great effect. I mean, people say, well, it's intrusive. Well, I hear that. I understand why you feel that way. It gives me a little bit of heartburn, but the Supreme Court is pretty clear on this point that if you're on a public street, you have no expectation of privacy. The moment you leave your front door, there is no expectation of privacy. You're in public. What happens behind your closed doors should remain your own business, unless you're violating the law in some way and police find out about it. But I mean, once you leave the outside, you would be shocked if you knew how many cameras are trained upon you at different points during the day. You go into a grocery store. I mean, there's cameras everywhere. You walk down the street. Everybody's got the doorbell camera. I in front of my house, I have 3 cameras looking across my property. And so, you're always, it seems, you would be shocked to know how many times you're on camera. So the idea of this company is that they pull from these private entities, and then sometimes when police need video of something that happened in a particular area, it's made available to them through this system. Well, the council, in its extreme wisdom, has decided not to do this. It came to a very close vote. The mayor wanted it, the police department wanted it, but it doesn't look like they're going to get it. And then that brings us to, where are we on LPRs? You know how I feel about LPRs. I had some initial hesitation about LPRs, license plate readers. But then I came to understand how they are used and how the safeguards that are put in place. And the penalties for violating the safeguards are substantial. And so what you want to do is have these things so that, if you have somebody that's stolen a car, you put the stolen license plate into the system, and if it sees it, it alerts police. I mean, it's that simple. Thousands of people pass, license plates are scanned, nothing happens. Doesn't get recorded, but if you hit one that's in their system attached to a criminal complaint, then police are alerted. I mean, you can imagine a situation where you had a heinous, violent crime committed, and you could go to those cameras and then say, well, we think this is our suspect, and you put their license plate system in there attached to a criminal complaint, and you can find out where that car is. It takes bad people off the streets, and as far as I know, it looks like Nashville is one of the last entities in our region to not use the license plate readers, which I think, if used properly and the safeguards are obeyed, can really make our communities a lot safer. I mean, I can't tell you the number of times I see stories about what happened in Mount Juliet where they pulled somebody over that was wanted on a murder warrant or some rape warrant or some stolen vehicle or some serious crime. You know, if you want bad people off the street, people who have absolutely committed crimes, then we need to have these license plate readers. Again, something the police want and the council is having some problem with. 51 past the hour. Hey, listen, before we get too deep into this spot, and my friends over at the Restoration Wellness Med Spa have been doing good work for me. I'm now down 30 pounds in my weight loss effort thanks to their work and their advice and their treatment. So thank you for that. Now, they want you to also know that they're a leader in advanced therapy treatment for arthrosis and chronic pain. You may not know it, but chronic pain affects 20% of all adults in the U.S., and when you get to be 65, it's 50%. Don't let your chronic pain control your life. Restoration Wellness has the newest technology in joint injections, a minimally invasive treatment to relieve pain without needing surgery. Restoration Wellness joint injection treatments can relieve anything from shoulder pain, hip pain, knee pain, everything in between. They put together personalized treatment plans specific to your needs. So let the Restoration Wellness team help you achieve your health goals this year. Call them at 615-470-8124 or visit them at their website, restorationwellnessmedspa.com, to book a consultation. My friends Carly and Jamie will take great care of you just like you're part of the family. Say goodbye to your chronic pain and get a new lease on life.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
More on the case before the U.S. Supreme Court regarding transgender youth. We'll hear from a gay rights activist and a Tennessee state senator. And the NYPD, they're looking for answers in the execution of an insurance company executive. Those stories coming up at 5 p.m. on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
And we'll deep dive into that transgender debate at the High Court of the land, a Tennessee law being looked at by the justices there. It looks like it went pretty well for the state of Tennessee. I'll give you all of that coming up after the news, 58 minutes past the hour. Have you noticed how unreliable things have become these days? Like when someone tells you it'll be ready at 4 p.m. and it's not? You know, people hate that kind of stuff. Well, if you've had it with unreliable vehicle repair shops, come to URFARB. URFARB has your vehicle ready when it's supposed to be ready so you don't have to stand around waiting. URFARB repairs all European cars with quality that beats the dealer without dealer pricing. That's because dealer repair shops are designed to pay virtually all of a dealership's overhead. And that's a lot of money. Why would you want to pay for that? At URFARB, reliable means a 3-year nationwide warranty, plus a free loaner car with every repair. Make sure you call ahead. Loaner cars are very popular. If you're tired of unreliable repair shops, come to where it is reliable. URFARB, family-owned for 24 years. Call 844-URFARB or visit myurafix.com. That's myurafix.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with.
Good afternoon. It's 5 p.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. A complete weather forecast and another traffic report are on the way. Today, the U.S. Supreme Court hearing arguments for and against state bans on gender-affirming health care for transgender youth. A family right here in Tennessee brought the suit to the nation's high court and said their transgender child could be harmed if care is not readily available. The plaintiffs also argue that the bans that are now across 26 states violate U.S. law by discriminating on the basis of sex. GLAD President and CEO Sarah Kate Ellis says Americans who say they are against gender-affirming care may not have any personal connection with anyone who's transgender.
Only 30% of Americans say they know somebody who's transgender. So a lot of these responses are coming from people who haven't met people who are trans, who don't understand the journey and don't understand what those folks are up against.
Tennessee State Senator Jack Johnson, he joined Dan Mandis this morning on Nashville's Morning News. And there, Johnson emphasized that the legislation is all about protecting children.
Because these medications, these surgeries, they can inhibit your ability to bear children. Imagine making a decision when you're 16 or 17 and then you get to be 25 and you realize you made a horrible mistake and you want to get married, you want to have a family, and these procedures or these medications rendered you infertile. How horrific would that be?
Tragic news coming out of the Big Apple this morning. So far, the NYPD says that this morning's shooting death in Midtown Manhattan of the CEO of United Healthcare Insurance in rush hour was indeed targeted, but why it happened, they're still trying to figure that out. The gunman got away on an e-bike.
The gunman appeared to know when and where Brian Thompson would show up for an investor conference at the Hilton on 6th Avenue. He was there just a few minutes before amid many security cameras. Chief of Detectives Joe Kenny.
The shooter steps onto the sidewalk from behind the car. He ignores numerous other pedestrians, approaches the victim from behind, and shoots him in the back. The shooter then walks toward the victim and continues to shoot.
Using a 9mm, hops on an e-bike, last seen in Central Park.
That's Chuck Sievertson reporting. By the way, those e-bikes reportedly have GPS on them, so they're hoping to learn more once they get that information from that bike. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News. Over near the Hermitage on I-40 eastbound, the off-ramp to Central Pike is partially blocked. There's a car on fire there. Traffic is getting by on the left shoulder, but it is a slow go. Also, 65 southbound down near Interstate 840 in Williamson County, we have a crash there. And 65 southbound there at exit 108, just after that exit, that shoulder still blocked due to that box truck that ran off the road earlier. I'm Jay Harper with traffic every 10 minutes, every morning and afternoon on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good evening, everyone. It's 6 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock. I'm Brian Wilson, your friend and radio buddy. How you doing out there? Everything all right? You know what? I noticed today, I was driving around, all the Christmas decorations are going up, and the lights are so nice. When you put up the lights when the big Christmas decoration. I bet you've got a big inflatable in front of your house, don't you, Chris?
Me? No, I don't do the inflatables.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas at my house. I'll tell you that for sure. And hope that you are enjoying the Christmas season. I love this time of year. Usually, I must say, I'm not in the mood for Christmas music till about the week before Christmas.
Yeah.
I've already been tapping into my Christmas playlist.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know what got into me. I'm in a good mood today. So, just enjoyed it and listening to good Christmas tunes. There's so many good ones out there. We want to start by talking about a big argument that was made today before the highest court in the land, the Supreme Court, about a law that was passed in Tennessee that says that we cannot do medical treatment for gender transition in the state of Tennessee. Puberty blockers or maybe even surgeries for children who have not yet reached the age of adulthood. And until you reach the age of adulthood, it's not allowed in the state of Tennessee. And, that basic bill is replicated in some 25 other states. 26, more than half of the states have some similar law. And so this makes its way to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court decided to take the Tennessee law and look at it today and decide whether or not the law is constitutional or not. Now, how did it go? Well, overall, I think it went pretty well. I mean, here's a pretty good example. Justice Brett Kavanaugh, talking about how, look, you're asking us to make a big decision on something that is, in the medical world, is still evolving.
If it's evolving like that and changing, and England's pulling back and Sweden's pulling back, it strikes me as, pretty heavy yellow light, if not red light, for this court to come in, the 9 of us, and to constitutionalize the whole area when the rest of the world, or at least the countries that have been at the forefront of this, are pumping the brakes on this kind of treatment because of concerns about the risks.
And that is true. The rest of the world is starting to look at this askance. Yet here in the United States, we seem to have a different view of it in some areas. Justice Alito went into a very long conversation about risk versus benefit. In other words, what are the risks and what are the benefits? And he had apparently done his homework. There's no doubt about that, as he was asking questions of Elizabeth Prelogar, who is the Solicitor General for the Biden administration.
In your petition, you made a sweeping statement, which I will quote. Overwhelming evidence establishes that the appropriate gender-affirming treatment with puberty blockers and hormones directly and substantially improves the physical, psychological well-being of transgender adolescents with gender dysphoria. That was in November 2023. Now, even before then, the Swedish National Board of Health and Welfare wrote the following. They currently assess, quote, that the risks of puberty blockers and gender-affirming treatment are likely to outweigh the expected benefits of these treatments, which is directly contrary to the sweeping statement in your petition. After the filing of your petition, of course, we saw the release of the Cass report in the United Kingdom, which found a complete lack of high-quality evidence showing that the benefits of the treatments in question here outweigh the risks. And so I wonder if you would like to stand by the statement that you made in your petition, or if you think it would now be appropriate to modify that and withdraw the statement that there is overwhelming evidence establishing that these treatments have benefits that greatly outweigh the risks and the dangers.
I, of course, acknowledge, Justice Alito, that there is a lot of debate happening here and abroad about the proper model of delivery of this care and exactly when adolescents should receive it and how to identify the adolescents for whom it would be helpful.
Then if she recognizes it, then why in the world are we trying to push these treatments on young children? It is we often talk about unsettled law. This is unsettled medicine. And yet, I think it makes a great deal of sense to say, look, some of the stuff that you're doing here with the treatment of children cannot be undone. And we're now beginning to find that some other countries around the world are looking at this. They maybe were way out ahead and advanced on this idea before, but now having had some experience in these transgender surgeries and these transgender treatments, they've decided that, you know what, the medicine on this it doesn't always add up. In other words, sometimes the risk does not, the risk outweighs the benefit of the treatment. And they're pulling back from it. Justice Brett Kavanaugh is correct. Alito was particularly good on this today in this conversation that he had with a transgendered individual who represents the ACLU. This person was born biologically a female, now identifies as a male, and calls himself Chase Strangio, was arguing about, this whole thing about, well, you know what, does it reduce the number of suicides or not? Because that's one of the big arguments. That, well, if you give this treatment, we're reducing the number of suicides. Well, maybe not.
But on page 195 of the Cass report, it says, there is no evidence that gender affirmative treatments reduce suicide.
What I think that is referring to is there is no evidence in the studies that this treatment reduces completed suicide. And the reason for that is completed suicide, thankfully and admittedly, is rare, and we're talking about a very small population of individuals with studies that don't necessarily have completed suicides within them. However, there are multiple studies, long-term longitudinal studies, that do show that there is a reduction in suicidality, which I think is a positive outcome to this treatment.
Well, how did it go over? I mean, you have a group of people who cover the court on a regular basis who get a good sense for these kind of things. I've done some of that reporting in the past, and you do get a sense of where the court is, but you can't always guarantee that the way the arguments go is the way the final decision will go. But given that caveat, here's how it's been reported by some of the major organizations that were there today. NBC News, Supreme Court skeptical of challenge to Tennessee ban on transgender youth treatments. CBS News, Supreme Court appears likely to uphold Tennessee ban on gender-affirming care for kids. This is the Associated Press. Supreme Court reluctant to block Tennessee's ban on gender-affirming care for minors. Axios, Supreme Court seems likely to uphold ban on gender-affirming care. Washington Examiner, Supreme Court appears skeptical of undoing Tennessee ban on transgender procedure for minors. Now, of course, this is the case is known as U.S. versus Skermetti, and the High Court is reviewing basically what is Tennessee Senate Bill 1, a law that prohibits puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and transgender surgeries for minors. Now, so much has been made about this bill. Well, if you're going to ban this for children, what's the next step? Making it illegal for adults? No, that has never been the plan in the state of Tennessee. And Senator Jack Johnson, who's one of the authors of this bill, has been very clear on that. You see, here's the thing. If you're an adult, then you ought to be able to make the decision. I don't understand it, but, maybe I don't need to understand it. If you are an adult and you reach that age where you feel like, I am absolutely certain this is what I'm going to do, you have reached the age of adult maturity to make that decision that is in your best interest, you think, then go ahead, knock yourself out. I mean, I don't care. I don't have to understand it, but there's enough of a libertarian streak that runs through my conservatism that I say, if you're an adult, you should be allowed to do this if you think it's in your best interest. But children do not have the maturity to know. And there have been a lot of cases where they started down the path and got about halfway through it and decided, you know what? I want to go back. And you know what? Some of the stuff you can't go back on. Once the bell is rung, you can't unring it. So it seems like to me the High Court is prepared to stand by the state of Tennessee and the other 25 states in our country that have similar legislation. This will be a very, very important decision when it comes down. Now, I say that's the way it looks today. We have a 6-3 conservative majority. I think that the chances are that they're going to stand by this law. It's the way it feels from all of the arguments and the questions they're being asked and the skepticism that the High Court seemed to express about those who would challenge the law. So I think it's going to happen. But I just want to leave this one little caveat, and that caveat is this, that when you try to guess the Supreme Court, every once in a while, they surprise you. Because, you know, they ask questions and then they get behind closed doors and they have other conversations and people write legal briefs and they exchange them and they walk down the hallway. They have water cooler conversations about it, etc. And at the end of the day, you know, sometimes the human dynamics behind the scenes are hard to understand or predict. But in this particular case, I'd be very surprised if the High Court does anything but stand by the state of Tennessee and this law. And it will be case law that will determine how 26 other states go. This is one of those issues where it should be left to the states. If they write such a law, and some have decided not to write such a law, but if you write such a law, it is certainly within the state's rights to protect the children in that state. And I think that's what the High Court will decide. So, you know, these all the reporting seems to be pretty monolithic on this. Seems to be that's where it is headed. As long as I got a minute left, I think it's interesting to note, in sort of a semi-related issue, that the LPGA Tour has updated its gender eligibility policy, and that it bars players assigned male at birth. From FoxNews.com. The LPGA Tour on Wednesday updated its gender eligibility policy, which will go into effect at the start of the 25 season. The organization said in a news release that male players who have gone through male puberty are barred from competing in the LPGA Tour and all other elite LPGA competitions. Players assigned male at birth who have gone through male puberty are not eligible to compete in the aforementioned events, the organization said. The policies governing the LPGA's recreational programs and non-elite events utilize different criteria to provide opportunities for participation in the broader LPGA community. The announcement came after 2 pro golfers and a retired player called on the organization to change its rules. 20 minutes now past the hour.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
It doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
A dramatic rescue effort taking place in Pennsylvania today, and another school shooting, this time in California. We'll have those stories coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
We had a big announcement this morning. The Nashville Morning News, all of the, and we use this term loosely, talent arrived for a big show this morning, down at Dan's show, to make an announcement. And if you missed it, I'll fill you in. As you know, I'm leaving my last this show. I'm not leaving, but I'm leaving this time slot on the 24th of December. That will be my last show. And the question has been asked, and if you're alert, cunning, and sly, you probably put this all together. But the question is, well, who's going to replace Brian when he retires? Well, the answer to many who have already put it together is Matt Murphy. The official announcement made today. And so then you say, well, Matt Murphy, he works noon to 3, so who's going to be in noon to 3? Well, that nice Chad Benson is going to be there. You may have heard him. He's been filling in. So he's going to be filling in. So, I mean, folks put this together, but we just have to wait for the official signing of contracts and the signatures on the dotted line.
And wait for the ink to dry.
Yeah, and you have to wait, for all the lawyers to finish up with the back and forth on that stuff. That's, people don't understand when they say, well, why can't we get the answer? Well, because it's not an answer until you've done the paperwork, and the paperwork wasn't done. So now the paperwork is done, the announcement is made, and that will be it. Look, my last day will be the 24th. I think Matt will be filling in that week between Christmas and New Year's, but he launches officially his new show from 3 to 7 on the 2nd of January. So, that's the news there. And I'm going to be around. I just want to make sure everybody understands I'm not going to be completely gone. I'll be mostly gone. I will still have a relationship with the station. I will still be, doing fill-in work, and I'll still be, occasionally dropping in on shows when there's something that is happening out there that's in my wheelhouse. And providing my perspective, you'll still hear my voice on the radio station. So, that's all going to happen as we go forward here. But congratulations to Matt. When I came on to this shift, it was under very sad circumstances. Phil Valentine had passed away, and we needed to make a change, and so I came in, and I knew I could never replace Phil, but I wanted to come in and give it my best shot, and the audience was so gracious and so open armed and really receptive to me coming in and doing that, and I know that you'll be receptive to Matt as he comes. A lot of people just don't like change. We get that, but I think what I see here is Dan Mandis in the morning. Chris Hand from 9 to noon, Chad Benson from noon to 3, Matt Murphy from 3 to 7. That's the lineup. I don't see it changing for a while. I don't.
I understand that Dan Mandis is now the old man of the group.
Well, he will be as of the 24th. He will be.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not very happy about that. But anyway,
makes me laugh.
Hey, by the way, I got up this morning and I didn't have near enough coffee by the time I got on the air this morning. It may have sounded like I was a little groggy, and I was. But I just saw this story about coffee that caught my eye. Coffee hits the highest price in nearly 50 years. Prices have jumped by almost 70% so far this year. Ooh, wow. 70%. I did not know this. And it has to do with a bunch of different things. Adverse conditions impacting crop output, and ongoing supply chain issues. There's a as Dan Mandis once called it, Arabica beans. The Arabica beans make up about 3/4 of global coffee production, and the rest is made up with this something called Robusta crop, and both have had real problems. Soil conditions, a water deficit, not enough rain, has really impacted the crops. Weather conditions in Brazil and Vietnam continue to be closely monitored. But the end result is about 1.7 million bags of coffee were not shipped by October because of issues that had to do with shipping schedules and, again, the lack of beans. That is equivalent to 5,200 shipping containers of coffee.
Ooh, wow.
That's a lot of coffee. So that's why it's going up, and the price is going to get expensive. You know what the other expensive commodity is? Cocoa. Coffee and chocolate. I can't live without either of those things.
You got to have both of those.
Come on. We got to get this stuff straightened out. But, if you have to pay more for a cup of coffee, at least now you know why. 30 minutes past the hour, time for the news.
Good afternoon. It is 5:30, and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. A complete forecast. It's going to get colder. We've also got a traffic report coming up, so stand by. A dramatic rescue effort playing out in southwest Pennsylvania today. Pleasant Valley Fire Chief John Basha says they're still trying to find a missing grandmother in a sinkhole above a crumbling and abandoned coal mine in freezing temperatures. At least they think she fell in this sinkhole.
Still working on some cameras, some electronic devices, some canines for various reasons to go through and trying to locate Miss Pollard.
Family members say Elizabeth Pollard disappeared on Monday. She was looking for her lost cat. Her 5-year-old granddaughter, she was found safe inside Mrs. Pollard's car that was parked nearby. Sheriff's deputies, now in Butte County, California, say the 2 students were shot in a school shooting this afternoon. ABC's Alex Stone is in California.
An adult shooter is dead and 2 students were shot, but their conditions are unknown, according to the Butte County Sheriff's Office. The shooting happening at Feather River School of Seventh-day Adventist, which is a small kindergarten through 8th grade school with only 33 students in the Oroville area. The Sheriff's Department calling it an active incident, not an active shooter. The FBI is responding to help investigate.
Well, in the coming days, Nashville is hoping to learn if it will host the FCS National Football Championship next year. News 2 reports that Scott Ramsey, he's CEO of the Nashville Sports Council, he said that they've bid to host the matchup at First Bank Stadium at Vanderbilt. He said it could be a big economic boom for the city during a traditionally slower time. From 1997 to 2009, the matchup was held in Chattanooga. It's been in Frisco, Texas every year since. Tennessee teams who play FCS football, that would include Tennessee State, East Tennessee State, Tennessee Tech, Austin Peay, UT Chattanooga, and UT Martin. UT Martin, by the way, they're still in the running to reach the championship game. They beat New Hampshire this past Saturday. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News. Well, still dealing with that issue in South Nashville. That would be 24 eastbound at the Murfreesboro Pike exit. Got a crash there. Also, 65 southbound now near Interstate 840 in Williamson County, an accident there. And, of course, that bottleneck's always a mess anyway. And we are still dealing with the delayed and disrupted traffic 65 southbound after exit 108 due to that darn box truck that ran off the road. Everybody reportedly is safe. No injuries there. I'm Jay Harper. We've got traffic every 10 minutes every morning and afternoon on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Listen, make this a magical Christmas with help from the folks at Genesis Diamonds. You will love what's happening this month at Genesis. They've got a 5-year, 0% interest financing across the board. So here's what that means. You pick any spectacular gift, divide the price by 60, and that is your payment. 5 years, 0%. Everything becomes affordable like that. And guys, Genesis has what women love, from simple diamond stud earrings to amazing one-of-a-kind designer bracelets. Their showcases are filled with exquisite diamond rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands. Can't miss gifts with exquisite craftsmanship and lasting value. All of Genesis exclusive designers are showcasing their latest creations, so you can get her something very unique and special. And Genesis's non-commissioned experts will help you pick out that gift that is sure to bring tears to her eyes on Christmas mornings. Relax. No pressure at Genesis. They will make it so very easy. This year, get her the most romantic, most memorable gift for the season. Genesis Diamond, best value, best selection, best quality, best overall experience. Get holiday store hours, directions, finance details at genesisdiamonds.com. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See the store for details.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spice and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
It doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
.38 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock. Brian Wilson in the chair. Glad you're with us on this fourth day of December. Get ready for some cold temperatures. 21, the overnight low tonight. Tomorrow night, 18. Whew. And then on Friday, the high is only going to be about 38 degrees. That's chilly.
Bundle up.
But by next Monday, 62.
Yeah, break out the shorts.
That's right. It's that time of year you don't know what to put into your closet. You know, you need it all. You need something that's a little warm, and then things that are seriously warm, and then occasionally you need something that's, you know, balmy for balmy weather.
Dress in layers. That's always a good idea.
That's a good idea. That's a good way. That's what they always say. Dress in layers. I wanted to talk a little bit about the situation, some national security stuff, and specifically what's going on in our southern border. You know, it's been sort of it's slowed down a little bit, but I think there's going to be a big push between now and January 20th. A lot of people are going to try to get across the border while they still can. Here's a story from Breitbart. New migrant caravan departs southern Mexico for the U.S. border. Soon after Mexico's government dissolved a migrant caravan that was moving north, a new caravan departed from the country's southern border. The migrants expressed their final goal of reaching the border with the United States before President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration on January 20th. And the new caravan started on Monday early morning in Tapachula, Chiapas, where approximately 2,000 migrants began their journey toward Mexico City. Their ultimate goal was to reach the U.S. border before the start of the Trump administration. The rush for the border comes after the U.S. president-elect campaign on implementing a hard line on immigration issues in Mexico. The migrants began the journey in the early morning, walked past most of the day, stopping only to rest at certain points at the town of Huili. I cannot even say it. I don't even know how you pronounce that one, but it's a small town that's incredibly difficult to pronounce. During the journey, one migrant who spoke with Breitbart, Texas, but asked not to be named, claimed that Mexican immigration agents had offered him a 15-day travel permit for $500 U.S. How about that? Permit allowed him to travel by bus or plane to any border city. The migrant said he'd been told that those permits are usually only given to migrants who already have a scheduled appointment on the CBP One app and are free, but the wait time for an appointment can be months. The agents told him that the $500, he could get the permit on the spot without waiting, and that he could make it to the border before Trump took office. I have a feeling they're getting scammed. So many people, take advantage of folks, one way or the other. I have a feeling that caravan, if the Mexicans have gotten the word from Donald Trump, maybe that caravan will dissolve before it gets to the border as well. Eagle Pass, Texas, the Texas Department of Public Safety troopers interdicted 176 migrants in a single group after they crossed the Rio Grande from Mexico on Sunday. The group crossed into the United States near the small border town of Eagle Pass, according to the spokesman. 11 migrants within the group were identified as special interest aliens from Afghanistan. The large migrant group consisted of single adults, family group migrants, and unaccompanied migrant children. Migrants from a host of countries were identified within the group, some from El Salvador, Ecuador, Cuba, Colombia, Brazil, Venezuela. According to the DPS, Department of Public Safety spokesperson, Lieutenant Chris Oliveras, 85 migrants within the group were prosecuted for criminal trespassing in accordance with Texas state law. Family units and unaccompanied migrant children were among those not prosecuted for criminal trespassing. They were transferred to the Border Patrol for processing. Once criminal cases have concluded on those prosecuted under state law, the 85 migrants will then also be transferred to the Border Patrol. That's what they do in Texas. They interdict them and they hold them. According to one source within the CBP, not authorized to speak to the media, special interest aliens crossing into Eagle Pass were once a rarity. Violence from the Sinaloa, Mexico, according to sources, one of the reasons migrants from special interest countries may be choosing to enter the United States in Eagle Pass. The trend is concerning. So, again, a lot of activity down on the border. Talking about national security and how it will change. From the Populous Times headline, Trump promises hell in the Middle East if Hamas does not release hostages before he takes office. Well, where was this in the current administration? Islamic terrorist group Hamas taunted the United States and Israel by releasing a video of an Israeli-American, Eden Alexander, begging for his release. Alexander, 20, is among over 250 civilians abducted by the Palestinian terror group during the October 7th invasion of Israel, while over 1,200 others lost their lives. The Israeli-American has remained hostage for 420 days. The Hamas terrorist groups forced the record home to record a message for the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and incoming U.S. President Donald Trump. Responding to the incident, President Trump started by criticizing world leaders for doing little to free the hostages. Everybody is talking about the hostages who are being held so violently, inhumanely, and against the will of the entire world in the Middle East, but it's all talk and no action. He says there will be all hell to pay in the Middle East for those in charge who perpetrated these atrocities against humanity. He also warned that those responsible will be hit harder than anybody has been hit in the long and storied history of the United States of America. Responding to Trump's remarks, Netanyahu thanked the president-elect for his strong statement and added that Hamas must release the hostages. I predict that will happen. It reminds me a lot. Many people, probably within the sound of my voice, are too young to remember this, but I remember when Reagan was coming into office, Jimmy Carter was the president. We had Iranian hostages, very sort of similar situation. Americans taken from the embassy, held hostage by the Iranians, and Jimmy Carter couldn't get a darn thing done about it. But the Iranians, realizing that Ronald Reagan was going to be a tougher character to deal with, and that Ronald Reagan was not to be messed with, literally on the day of the inauguration, they released the hostages and sent them back to America. I predict something similar will happen around our inauguration in January 20th, before, maybe a little bit before. But I think that will happen. And again, it just shows you that the world does not respect Joe Biden. They look at him as wimpy. They look at him as weak. They look at him as, not to be taken seriously. But they know Donald Trump. And they know when he says, there's going to be trouble if you don't release these people, that they should take him at his word. And I hope that they're paying close attention, because I really think Donald Trump is talking as if he really will unleash a hell of a response to those who are holding our hostages. Then there's this. Mysterious drone activity detected near Trump's golf courses prompts FAA airspace restriction. I've seen some video of this. These drones are flying at night. Sometimes there are as many as 5 of them in the sky, and they are spotted near a New Jersey military base and Trump National Golf Club, Bedminster, in Somerset County. So the agency has issued 2 temporary flight restrictions. Nobody knows who it is. The strange drone sightings have continued into this week in central New Jersey. This happens from time to time. We had a bunch of them happen last December around sensitive military installations in Virginia, and they never did figure that out. Who was flying these drones? Nobody felt like they were threatened by the drones, like they weren't aimed at hurting anybody, just observing stuff in very sensitive areas where perhaps we'd rather they not be observing those things. And now it's happening in New Jersey. And there was a time that I think it was in eastern Colorado, where they had a whole series of drones that were spotted, and nobody ever did figure out what that was all about. I would guess the Chinese if it were me, but the temporary flight restriction applies to an area around there, which means that if they do fly in that area, that the FAA, if they can track them down, will prosecute them, bring charges against them. The FBI issued a joint statement with the New Jersey State Police and the State Office of Homeland Security and Preparedness requesting information related to the recent sightings. The problem is, who's flying these drones and where are they? They could be sitting in a parking lot somewhere. They could be sitting anywhere, flying these drones. And it's incredibly difficult to sort of lock in on where the controller is. So it's a weird thing, these drones. And they're taking it very seriously and looking at it as a security issue. So if you go to New Jersey, don't fly a drone, okay? 50 minutes now past the hour. Hey, listen, let me tell you about Beacon. The good folks at Beacon want you to get ready for your retirement. And, you know, there's some steps you could take to be better positioned regardless of what may be happening in this interesting political time that we're in. You deserve the confidence to know that no matter what's going on in the economy, what's going on in the country, what's going on in the world, that you have a plan that helps keep your financial goals in line with your life's priorities. If you're in or nearing retirement, Beacon Capital Management has a free retirement-ready toolkit just for you. You'll get a Money Enough for Life book, a retirement planning checklist, and a Maximizing Your Retirement Income white paper that will give you great information. No cost, no obligation, and no pressure. What do you got to lose? Do a little reading. You might learn something. You might be really surprised about how you can make yourself more secure. All you got to do to start this process is to call them. And here's the number, 615-488-9303, and they will immediately send you a free retirement-ready toolkit. Again, that number, make a note of it, 615-488-9303.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.